Please be advised that there are spoilers ahead related to the property being watched and/or discussed in this video. Hello! Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Asha Media TV. If you're new here, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all 22 episodes from the 6th season of Supernatural. Now, before I continue on with my presentation of my ranking, I do need to cover a couple of stuff, especially if you are new to my channel and it's your first time watching one of my ranking videos. So please, listen up. The first thing you should know about this video is that it is not meant to be some kind of in-depth analysis about these episodes. I am not qualified for that at all. These kinds of ranking videos that I do for Supernatural are just my own little personal project that I do after watching a season. It's my way of sharing with you key aspects of each episode that I find notable and memorable for whatever reason. So, with that in mind, if there's something that I say about a particular episode or a character that you don't agree with, that upsets you and it gets you mad and you're on the defense and you want to go and type ahead in the comment section about it, that's okay. As long as it's relevant to Supernatural and spoiler free, I'm good with whatever you want to say in the comment section about this video. And the second and last thing that I want you to be aware of is the structure of my rankings. So what's going to be presented to you is a visual presentation where I name the episode, I give you the ranking number, and I give you a very brief breakdown as to why this particular episode is memorable for me for certain reasons. And that's pretty much it. It's meant to be a very simple form of expression from me personally about these episodes from this season. So, without further ado, let's start with my pick at number 22. Episode 14, Mannequin 3, The Reckoning. The most unpredictable moment was when Ben called Dean a liar and accused him of abandoning his family. Considering the fact that this is the worst episode I've watched in this series so far, this exchange between Dean and Ben is the only thing I care to remember. At number 21, Episode 8, All Dogs Go to Heaven. The most uneasy moment was when it's shown that Cal, the household dog, is actually a skinwalker with a crush on Mandy, the lady of the house. Considering the setup of showing Cal as a man killing people disguised as a dog, seeing him perversely spying on naked Mandy was kinda gross. At number 20, Episode 22, The Man Who Knew Too Much. The most unsatisfying scene was when Cass claimed to be the new god and demanded worship from Dean, Sam, and Bobby. Considering that the last 5 seasons delivered riveting season finale episodes, this ending scene for season 6 is memorable simply because of how underwhelming it all was for me. Despite watching this episode twice and reviewing the comments received by my viewers, my opinion hasn't changed much about this episode. In fact, I think it would have had a much more dramatic impact on me if they had ended the episode right at the point where Castiel snaps his fingers and destroys Raphael. That would have been the perfect time for them to bring a close-up to his face, have him glow with his newfound power, and then say something along the lines of, "I'm your new god now." It would have been more intense, and it would have kept more of the mystery as to what had happened to Castiel. That would have been a good lead up into the first episode of season 7. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents about episode 22. Now, let's move on. At number 19, Episode 3, The Third Man. The most fun was the introduction of the rebellious angel Balthazar, played wonderfully by Sebastian Roche. Considering the fact this episode had a very disturbing sequence involving a child, Balthazar's comedic party boy attitude was a relief to watch. At number 18, Episode 13, Unforgiven. The most eyebrow-raising scene was when Sam's mental wall suddenly collapsed. Considering it was only 2 episodes prior that Death carefully built that mental wall while restoring Sam's soul, I think the breakdown of this wall came along way too soon, and unfortunately, it didn't leave much of a lasting impression. At number 17, Episode 12, Like a Virgin. The most endearing part was when Castell attempted to hug Sam, only to be awkwardly rejected. Considering that Castell has rarely shown much affection towards Sam, this quick display of care from Castell won me over a bit more towards him as a character. At number 16, Episode 19, Mommy Dearest. The most jaw-dropping scene was when Crowley showed up alive and well, and Castell's alliance with him was exposed. Considering all the effort that went into keeping Castell's war strategies very vague and killing off Crowley in episode 10, this was a fantastically executed end of episode reveal. At number 15, episode 21, Let It Bleed. The most tear-jerking part was when Dean gets Cass to wipe Lisa and Ben's memory of him. Considering a demon-possessed Lisa fatally stabbed herself, I was prepared for her to die. It just seemed fitting since Dean's worry for her and Ben's safety has been a major issue since the beginning of the season. Instead, the writers genuinely surprised me with this very painful choice Dean makes to have their memories wiped clean of him. Although there are plot holes revolving around the reality of this choice, overall, I see it as a second chance at a better life that Dean, out of genuine love, couldn't give to them on his own. At number 14, episode 7, Family Matters. The most thought-provoking scene was when Crowley made it clear that he's officially the King of Hell. Considering that at this point in the series, demons haven't really displayed any spectacular powers, it was cool to visually observe the perks of being a true boss demon. At number 13, episode 6, You Can't Handle the Truth. The most mind-boggling part was when the goddess of truth, Veritas, claimed that Sam wasn't human. Considering that Sam was immune to her truth-telling powers, the possibility of Sam being something else altogether was an alarming notion for me to contemplate as a viewer. At number 12, episode 1, Exile on Main Street. The most unexpected scene was when Grandpa Samuel Campbell is introduced straight out of heaven. Considering the way this character died in episode 3 of the 4th season, Mitch Pileggi's reprisal of the role was a very welcomed surprise. At number 11, episode 9, Clap Your Hands If You Believe. The most surprising part was when Sam defeated the leprechaun, Wayne Whitaker Jr., by throwing salt on the floor. Considering that Marion, the fairies expert, did tell the Winchesters that throwing salt on the floor would compel a fairy to count each grain of it, watching it all unfold on screen was definitely a joy to watch. At number 10, episode 17, My Heart Will Go On. The most shocking moment was when Ellen showed up alive and she was married to Bobby. Considering the title of this episode, I had no clue how or why it would be related to Celine Dion or the Titanic. So when Ellen came back as if she was never gone, it was indeed a blessed treat. At number 9, episode 11, appointment in Samara. The most heart-stopping moment was when Sam was inches away from killing Bobby if it weren't for Dean's last-second intervention. Considering a soulless Sam didn't care about the consequences of letting Dean get turned into a vampire, Bobby almost losing his life by the hands of one of his sons was unbearable to behold. At number 8, episode 16, And Then There Were None. The most upsetting scene was when a con worm-possessed Bobby kills Rufus by stabbing him in the heart. Considering that prior to this moment, a con worm-possessed Dean killed Gwen, and Sam in turn killed a con worm-possessed Samuel, I really didn't think they'd go as far as to kill off one of the best supporting characters of this show. But after a rewatch and taking into account the comments shared by my viewers, I can only presume that the show's budget could no longer afford these actors anymore. So what better way than to have a dramatic hit list of an episode, right? Regardless of the reasons though, this scene was truly heartbreaking for me, and I will never forget how it made me feel. At number 7, episode 18, Frontierland. The most suspenseful part was when Sam and Dean fail at the last second to collect the ashes of the Phoenix Elias. Considering that Samuel Colt miraculously came through for the Winchesters at the end of the episode, it was still insanely disappointing to see Sam and Dean get so close to succeeding at their mission, only to be yanked back to their time. It was a beautifully done, edge-of-your-seat sequence of scenes. At number 6, episode 5, Live Free or Twi Hard. The most bothersome moment was when Sam abruptly stopped and smirked while Dean was getting turned into a vampire. Considering how odd Sam's been acting up until this point in the season, his seemingly crude reaction to Dean's attack was undoubtedly upsetting to witness. At number 5, episode 2, 2.5 Men. The most unforgettable moment was when the baby Sam and Dean rescued turned out to be a shapeshifter. Considering this series has never shown an infant version of a supernatural creature, baby Bobby John's shapeshifting moment was a shocking situation to observe. At number 4, episode 10, Caged Heat. The most memorable scene was when Castell spontaneously and passionately kissed Demon Meg. Considering earlier on in the episode, Castell had his own physical reaction to watching very adult content, this all too brief Megstiel display was spectacular. Alright, so we've reached my top 3 picks for season 6. If you're paying attention, then you should likely have an idea what those top 3 picks are. And it may not be as obvious as you may think, but nonetheless, here is my pick at number 3. Episode 4, Weekend at Bobby's. The most amazing scene was when it was revealed that Bobby exploited the spirit of Crowley's son Gavin to find out the location of Crowley's human remains. Considering how clever Crowley seems to be, Bobby outsmarting this boastful little devil showcased very well his equally matched wit and intelligence. At number 2, episode 15, The French Mistake. The most out-of-this-world part was when Sam and Dean realize they're in an alternate reality where their lives is a TV show called Supernatural. Considering this series has not been shy about its meta references in past seasons, It's amazing how skillfully they pulled off making a parody of Jared and Jensen's real lives and making it fit with the plot of the story. As my thumbnail indicated, this episode was just effing brilliant. And now we've reached my number one pick of the best episode of season 6 of Supernatural, which is episode 20, The Man Who Would Be King. The most gripping moment was when God didn't answer Castiel's heartfelt prayer for help. Considering this entire episode was from Castiel's perspective with amazing rewind-worthy scenes, this final part at the end had me hoping so much, only to feel despair, just like Castiel, when God didn't show any sign of his acknowledgement. There are various reasons that this episode made it to my number one spot. The first being how enjoyable it was listening to Castiel's narration of his thoughts as the events visually unfolded with notable framing of key moments, such as when Dean realizes Castiel has been spying on them all along. That was awesome! The performance, the style of the shots, and the editing, all of that makes this episode truly exceptional. But the main aspect for me personally that sets this episode just a bit above the French mistake is that it moved the plot forward without the need to go in full meta mode. And more importantly, it delivered satisfying dramatic shifts for all of the main characters in order to build up nicely to Castiel's transformation in the finale episode. Hence, so far, The Man Who Would Be King has made it to my top 10 favorite episodes of Supernatural. There you have it, everyone. That is my ranking of all 22 episodes of the 6th season of Supernatural. Now, I will be honest, episode 15 was at my number one spot until I saw episode 20. Oh, it's a masterpiece. It really, really is. And if you look at the common denominators with the best episodes of the season, it's clearly there as to why some episodes are much better than others. So I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to what are your top picks for this season. Share with me in the comment section your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, or if you dare, your top 22 picks. I am very curious. In the meantime, if you haven't checked out my reaction to the behind the scenes gag reel related to season 6 and other clips, the link to that video is above my finger here on the screen. And also look out for my year-end video specifically about changes to my channel that I'm going to be doing, starting with my reaction video to episode 1 of the 7th season. I'm not going to get into details in this video, but I will be uploading it on my YouTube channel December 31st around 7 p.m. And so please look out for that video where I will break down the changes that's going to be made to this channel as of the new year, mainly the week of January 17th for specific reasons. I'll tell you that much for now. So until that point in time, I hope you've enjoyed this ranking video. And if you're interested in supporting my channel and my endeavors to upload reactions to Supernatural on a consistent basis, details about how you can go about doing that is in the description box below. But for now, I'm tuning out. Peacing out. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos and subscribe. You know you wanna.